dear students. Today we are in continuation with the module 4. We are going to discuss Hunt's algorithm and attribute test conditions. So, coming to the Hunt's algorithm. So, in a Hunt's algorithm, a decision tree is grown in a recursive fashion by partitioning the training records into a successively purer subsets. So, means here we are going to divide the training records into part by part or purer subsets such that these training records belong to only one part, that these training records belong to only one class. So, let us assume let d f I be the set of training records that are associated with the node T. So, let us take let d f I be the set of training records that belongs to a particular node T, and the different class labels, let us take y is equal to y 1, y 2, y 3 and y f c with the class labels. So, now the following is a recursive definition of Hunt's algorithm. So, if all the records in d f t belong to the same class y of t, then T is a leaf node labeled as y of t. So, if all the records in the d of t, nothing but if all the records in the training set, if all the records or all the training records in d f I or d f t, all the training records that belong to a particular node, if they belong to only one class, then that particular node is a leaf node or it is labeled as y of t. If d f I contains records that belong to more than one class, so when you have a records that belong to more than one class, so now I need to have a test condition. So, whether it belongs to class 1 or class 2. So, if when I want to divide the training records, either it belongs to class 1 or class 2, I need to put in some test condition. So, an attribute test condition is selected to partition that the records into smaller subsets. A child node is created for each outcome of the test condition, and the record in a DRT are distributed to the children based on the outcome. So, as the number of classes, as the training records contain more than one class, then I need to create the child nodes in the tree. So, these child nodes will check for the particular test condition. If the test condition is based on whether test condition is true or false, the child node will give you the output that give you the proper distribution of the different training records, whether to which class they belongs. So, the algorithm then recursively applied to the child node also, and again at the child node we will again going to check for the test condition. Based on the test condition, we are going to differentiate whether a particular record or a particular training record belongs to which class. Consider for example, training set for predicting borrowers will be default on loan payment. So, defaulted borrower, here defaulted borrower no means a particular borrower. So, particular borrower no means he has taken the loan and he has repaid the loan back. Yes means, so here S means a person who has taken the loan from a bank, but he has not repaid the loans. So, default condition is no, that means the loan taken is repaid back, where S is the default is what is no. If a particular person has taken the loan and if he has not repaid back, then that is S. So, different transaction IDs we have 1 to 10 and we have homeowner. So, material status, so different attributes here. Homeowner, it is a binary yes or no. Material status is an attribute that is categorical type of attribute, which will define whether a particular person is single, married or divorced. Then continuous attribute that will give you an annual income. So, how much amount of money a particular person's income. So, that is 125k or 100k and so on. And defaulted borrower. So, this is another, this is a class, defaulted borrower is a class, whether that particular person belong to a group of the people who repaid back their loan, or whether it belongs to a class of the people that does not or who have not repaid back their loans. Okay, so let us see what are the different Hunt's algorithm for inducing decision tree over here. So, to this particular set of a training set, so now we will apply Hunt's algorithm and we will check. So, how how decision tree is induced. Okay, so here the first condition is, so here the first condition is defaulted equal to no, means if all the people who have taken the loan and if all of them have repaid back their loans, then defaulted no, means they all belong to only one class of no, means all the people who have borrowed the loan, then he has repaid the loan, he has repaid the loan. Let us go to the second B condition. So, here I am testing a one condition. So, here, so I am not, in this case I am not testing any condition. So, defaulted value is no, whereas in this case I am testing a condition of a homeowner. So, whether a particular person is homeowner or no. Okay, if a particular homeowner is S, so defaulted no, and homeowner no, defaulted no. It does not consider, it does not consider whether a particular person is taken the loan, whether he has repaid back the loan or no. He has repaid back the loan does not depend on whether he is a homeowner or no. So, defaulted conditions both for here we are taking it as no. Let us go to the next one. So, here homeowner S and no. So, if a particular person is a homeowner and if the condition is S, okay, defaulted no, means the person who is a homeowner, he is repaying back the loan. Then if a particular person is not an homeowner, I am testing for one more condition called as marital status. So, whether that particular person is married or no. So, marital status also I am checking whether he is married or single or divorced. Okay, if he is married and I am giving the defaulted condition as no, whereas for if he is single or divorced, default is S. So, these are the different conditions over here. So, this is the first step, this is the second step and this is the third step, and fourth one is the homeowner. So, here again I am combining this and these conditions and I am checking for the one more condition over here is annual income. So, homeowner S, homeowner no, default is no. So, homeowner no, marital status I am checking. So, whether he is a single or divorced or a married, if married defaulted no, and if single or divorced I am checking for one more condition over here is annual income. So, if annual income is less than 80k, defaulted is no, if annual income is greater than 80k, then is defaulted S. Okay. So, this is what. So, that is what. So, this is how the algorithm works. Consider the problem of predicting whether a loan applicant will repay her loan obligations or become a delinquent or subsequently defaulting on her loan. A particular person is going to repay back her loan or no. So, initial tree for the classification problem contains a single node. So, that is this is what the single node what it is contained. It contains a single node with the class label defaulted is equal to no, which means that most of the borrowers successfully repaid their loans. So, in this condition whoever has taken the loan, he has given the loan paid, he has repaid back complete loan. Okay. So, the tree however needs to be refined since the root node contains record from both the classes. So, now as a training record does not only define whether default condition I cannot make it as no. So, there are different attribute associated with this, one is binary, categorical and continuous. I need to consider all these conditions also to define whether a particular loan borrower is no, whether it belongs to class no or S. The records are succinctly further divided into smaller subsets on the outcome. So, now what we have done here. So, again the records are further divided into smaller subsets. So, here one test condition is homeowner whether he is S or no, another test condition is here we have homeowner, we have added one more child node called as marital status, and in third decision tree or in this induced decision tree. So, there are different test conditions. One is homeowner yes or no, marital status, single or married, single, divorced or married, and I am checking one more condition over here is annual income. Okay. So, this is what in every, in every of these. So, the Hunt's algorithm is applied recursively step by step, so that a particular person belongs to the class to which it belongs. If a particular person has repaid back the loan, he should belongs to the defaulted class as no, and if a particular person has taken the loan, whether he is a homeowner or married or single or divorced, or his annual income is less than or greater than 80k. So, I need to exactly classify whether that particular person belongs to the default class no or default class S. So, let us take design issues of a decision tree induction. So, whatever we did here, we introduced the decision tree induction we have done. So, now whenever we are designing such type of decision tree induction, or what are the design issues of a decision tree induction? A learning algorithm for inducing decision tree must address the following two issues. So, whenever we apply a decision tree algorithm, so a learning algorithm, okay, what it has to do? It has to address two important conditions or two important issues. One is, should the training records be split, or how should the splitting procedure stop? So, when the training record, whether to split the training record or no is the first issue, and second, so once I start splitting the training records, so at what point this training records will stop splitting. So, first one, should the training records be split? So, each recursive step of the tree growing process must select an attribute test condition to divide the records into smaller subsets. So, now here, should the training records be split? Yes, we need to split the training records. Why? Because an attribute test condition is always available, and this attribute test condition is used to divide the records into smaller subsets. To implement this step, the algorithm must provide a method for specifying the test condition for different attribute type, as well as an objective measure of evaluating the goodness of each test condition. So, how correct that each test condition is able to exactly identify or exactly predict or split the records, so that these records belongs to the proper classes. Now, how should the splitting procedure stop? The stopping condition is needed to terminate the growing tree. So, if I go on splitting the training records, the tree will go on increasing in size. So, if I want to stop at some point, the tree which has grown, it should stop at some point, and it has to come to the end, that it has to come to the leaf node that will give me exactly to which class it belongs. So, a stopping condition is needed to terminate the growing process. A possible strategy is to continue expanding a node until either all the records belong to the same class or all the records have identical attribute values. So, now up to what position, up to what point you need to consider, you need to continue the splitting procedure, either all the records belong, if all the records belong to the same class, you need to stop, or all the records have identical attribute values. So, if all the records have identical attribute values, at that point you need to stop the splitting process. Although both the conditions are sufficient to stop any decision tree induction algorithm, other criteria can be imposed to allow the tree growing procedure to terminate earlier. So, other conditions other than this, the other condition can also be applied in order to impose or in order to allow the growing tree procedure, so tree growing procedure to terminate earlier. So, now methods for expressing attribute test condition. So, decision tree induction algorithm provides a method for expressing an attribute test condition and its corresponding output for different attribute types. Okay, for a different attribute types. Okay, so now let us take method for expressing attribute test condition. So, decision tree induction algorithm must provide a method for expressing an attribute test condition and its corresponding outcome for different attribute types. So, the first attribute type is binary attribute. The test condition for a binary attribute generates two potential outcomes. So, the test. So, here binary attribute we are taking into consideration. So, if a attribute is a binary attribute, the test condition for a binary attribute generates two potential outcomes as shown in figure. Temperature, body temperature binary, whether it is warm blooded or cold blooded. So, the body temperature may be warm or it may be cold. So, some of the animals may be warm blooded or some of the animals may be cold blooded. Okay. So, now coming to the nominal attributes, since a nominal attribute can have many values, its condition can be expressed in two ways as shown in figure 8. Okay. So, now nominal attributes, can have many values. So, nominal attributes can have many values. Since a nominal attribute can have many values, its test condition can be expressed in two ways as shown in figure 8. Okay. So, first to split. So, now marital status. So, now there are three conditions. A person marital status may be three conditions, either a person may be a single or he may be married or he may be divorced. So, that is multi-way split. So, these are the three different conditions. So, here maximum conditions for a marital status is either a single or he may be divorced or he may be married. For example, if an attribute such as marital status has three distinct values. So, here in this case, so the attribute marital status is having three different values. So, one is either a person may be a single or may be divorced or may be married. So, this is multi-way split. So, figure 8.b. So, now in this case what? So, three different condition ways of grouping the attribute values for marital status into two subsets. So, instead of using three subsets, so now marital status can be grouped into two subsets. So, marital status married, second condition is single or divorced, or take single, married or divorced, or single married or single or married or divorced. So, multi-way split. So, three different conditions, instead of testing for the three different conditions single, married or divorced. So, any two of these can be combined. For example, in this case single and divorce is combined, here is married and divorce is combined, and here single and married is combined. So, now coming to the ordinal attributes. So, ordinal attributes can produce a binary value. So, next continuing with the ordinal attributes. So, ordinal attributes can have can also produce binary or a multi-way split. So, there are different options. So, there is here. So, ordinal attributes can produce sometimes a binary value or sometimes a multi-way splits. Ordinal attribute values can be grouped as long as grouping does not violate the order property of attribute values. So, here the order property of the attribute values should not violate. What does it mean? So, order value of the property should not violate. What does it mean? Consider, for example, you have a shirt size small, medium, large and extra large. Okay. Small and medium can be combined, large and extra large can be combined. You cannot combine small with the extra large and large and the medium. So, this is order property violation will take place. So, here whenever we are using ordinal attribute, we should take into consideration that, so order property should not violate, this does not violate the order property of the attribute values. Okay. So, figure 9 illustrates the different ways of splitting the training records based on the shirt size attribute. So, here the training records is now contains the attribute values. So, what is that attribute values it contains? It contains the size of the shirt. So, as you know, the size of the shirt may be either a small, or it may be medium, or it may be large or extra large. So, grouping is shown in figure 9a and 9b and 9c. So, here, so first one is, so here in the first condition shirt size is small and medium, whereas another is large and extra large. Third condition is shirt size small, medium, large and extra large. So, now this third condition shirt size large and small, medium and extra large, the test condition, the third condition 9c violates the property, because it combines the attribute values small and large into the same partition, while medium and extra large are combined into another partition, which does not hold good the order property of the attribute values. Now, let us take the continuous attribute. So, now for continuous attribute, the test condition can be expressed as a comparison test condition. For example, A is less than V, or A is greater than or equal to V, with binary outcomes. So, here the outcome of a continuous attribute is a binary outcome, and here we are test condition, comparison test condition we are using. What is the comparison test condition? Less than, greater than or equal to, or a range query, that may be a range also. So, comparison can also be used in the continuous attribute, and we can use the range query also. So, for example, V of I, so the value of A ranges in between V of I to V of I plus 1. So, for I equal to 1, 2, 3 up to k. So, difference between these two approaches is shown in figure 10. So, here annual income greater than 10k, greater than 80k, yes or no. So, this is generating greater than or less than. So, if it is greater than 80k, then it is S condition. If greater than 80k is, if it is not greater than 80k, then it is giving me no. So, now here let us take the range attribute. So, this is what it is giving the binary outcome. So, this is the comparison less than or greater than. So, now annual income less than 10k and greater than 10k. So, now this is comparison 10k, comparison attributes or comparison test condition. So, along with this I am adding what type of range queries I am adding. So, annual income in between 10k to 25k. So, group of the people who are having annual income in between 10k to 25k, another group of the people who are having this annual income in between 25k to 50k, another group of the people are having a salary of the range 50k to 80k. So, this is a combination of both. What is it? Is a combination of both comparison test condition as well as range query test conditions. So, these are the test condition for continuous attributes. So, now how to determine the best lit? So, how should we decide? So, how we have to decide greedy approach. Nodes with homogeneous class resolution are preferred. So, now if the nodes with the homogeneous class means if all the classes present, if all the objects present in a node, or if all the data present in a node is a homogeneous, then all of them belong to the same class, then distribution is preferred. Need a measure of impurity. So, I need to check for the impurity here. Non-homogeneous means high degree of the impurity. High degree of impurity here, let us take, you have a nodes with 5 nodes of 5 nodes that belongs to class 0, and 5 nodes or the 5 objects belongs to class 1. So, let us take there are 10. So, there are 10 objects or there are 10 training sets. So, non-homogeneous, this is a non-homogeneous test condition. So, this is high degree of impurity, because 5 of the sets or the 5 of the training records belongs to class 0, whereas 5 of the training records belongs to class 1. So, now homogeneous low degree of impurity. So, here out of 10, 9 of the training sets or the 9 of the data belongs to class 0, whereas only one of the data belongs to class 1. So, now if a particular split, a good split is one which is homogeneous with low degree of impurity, and a split is not said to be a good split if it is non-homogeneous and it is having high degree of impurity. Now, how you need to measure? So, we are saying that based on the degree of high or low degree of impurity, we are dividing a particular split either as a non-homogeneous or a homogeneous. Now, what are the measures, how to test the node impurity? So, these are the different conditions, and so there are different measures for measuring the node impurity. One is Gini index, second one is entropy, and third one is misclassification error. Okay. So, now what is entropy? Entropy of T, entropy of a split is equal to minus summation I equal to 1 to C minus 1 P of I by T log P of I by T to the base 2, and Gini is equal to 1 minus I of 0 equal to C minus 1 P of I by T bracket square, and classification error is equal to 1 minus max of I P of I by T. What? Where C, where C is the number of classes and 0 log 0 is equal to 0 is the entropy class calculation. For entropy classification, we have used for entropy calculation we have used log to the base 2. So, now what is here? The C belongs to the class and this belongs to the entropy calculation. What is this P of I by T? Where this P of I by T denotes the fraction of records belong to a class I at a given node T, and where C is a number of classes. P of I by T is the number of records that belongs to a particular class, either class 0, class 1 or class 2 at a particular given node, and where C is the number of classes. The measures developed for selecting the best slit are often based on the degree of impurity of a child node. So, the measures developed so far. So, the measures developed for selecting the best slit are often based on the degree of impurity of a child node. The smaller the degree of impurity, more skewed the classification, class classification. Let us take calculate the Gini, entropy and error for this particular class. So, node N1 is having two classes, class 0 and class 1. So, in class 0 we do not have any of the data, and class 1 there are 6 data that belongs to class 1. So, Gini is equal to 1 minus 0 by total is 6 minus 6 by 6. 6 is this one, total is 6, 6 by 6 bracket square, that is equal to 0. Entropy is minus 0 by 6 log 0 by 6 to the base 2 minus 6 by 6 log to the base 2 6 by 6, that is also again equal to 0, and error is equal to 1 minus maximum of 0 by 0 comma 6 0 by 6 by 6. So, this is 0, 6 by 6 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So, let us take node 2. So, now in node 2 there is one object that belongs to class 0 and there are 5 objects that belongs to class 1. So, what is Gini? Gini is 1 minus 1 by total is how much? 6, 1 minus 1 by 6 bracket square minus 5 by 6 bracket square, that is 0.278. Entropy is minus, total is how much? This is 1, total is 6, 5 plus 1 6. So, 1 by 6 log to the base 2 1 by 6 minus. So, for this particular class count 5 by 6 log 5 by 6 to the base 2, that will give you 0.65, and error is equal to 1 minus max of 1 by 6 and 5 by 6, that is 1 minus of this value will give you 0.167. So, if you go for node 3 also, in node 3 we have 3 data that belongs to class 0 and 3 data that belongs to class 1, and obviously here Gini and error is equal to 5 because equal number of so we have 3 objects that belongs to class 0 and 3 objects that belongs to class 3, means 50% non impurity over here. So, Gini is equal to 1 by 3, total is 6 bracket square minus 3 by 6 bracket square, that is equal to 0.5. Entropy is minus 3 by 6 log to the base 2 3 by 6 minus 3 by 6. So, 3 by 6 log to the base 2, that is again equal to 1. So, error is equal to 1 minus max 3 by 6 and 3 by 6, that is again 0.5. So, N1, so if you take the impurity of all these things, so Gini 1 is having impurity is equal to 0, because Gini is 0, entropy is 0 and error is 0. So, here also Gini is 0.27, entropy is 0.65 and error is 0.67, and Gini for the third node is 0.5, 1 and 0.5. So, here if you compare all these things, node N1 has the lowest impurity value, means it is more homogeneous, followed by N2 is the one which is having a greater impurity as compared to node N1, and node N3 is having the impurity greater than N1 and N2. To determine how well a test condition performs, we need to compare the degree of impurity of the parent node before splitting with the degree of impurity of a child node after splitting. So, now whether, so you have based on certain test condition, whatever you have done, you have divided splitted the parent node into the child node. So, first thing is I need to calculate the impurity of the parent node. So, before splitting, what is the impurity of the parent node I need to calculate. So, then after splitting, then we need to calculate the degree of impurity of the child node. So, if there is a large difference between the impurity of the parent node and the impurity of the child node, the better is the test condition. So, the gain is a criteria that can be used to determine the goodness of split, goodness of a particular split. So, there is one more measure called as gain. So, this is again a criteria that can be used to determine the goodness of a split. So, that is again, this is here. So, the difference delta, delta is nothing but degree of impurity of the parent node minus degree of the impurity of the child node. So, I of parent, impurity of the parent minus summation j equal to 1 to k. So, there may be how many number of child nodes, we do not know. So, n number of child nodes, n into V of j by n into impurity of the particular child node V of j. So, where I is the impurity of a given node, n is the total number of nodes records at a parent node, k is the k is the number of attribute values, and n of V of j is the number of records associated with the child node. Okay. So, in a decision tree. Okay, so, now coming to the characteristics of a decision tree based classification. So, what are the advantages of a decision tree based classification? So, decision tree induction is a non-parametric approach for building classification models. So, it is a non-parametric approach for building a classification model. In other words, it does not require any prior assumption regarding the type of probability distribution satisfied by the class and other attributes. So, this does not require any prior assumptions regarding the type of probability distribution satisfied by the class and other attributes. So, here advantages, one more advantage is optimal decision tree is complete program. Okay, so, complete problem. So, here, so optimal decision tree means with the minimum number of nodes we should be able to calculate or to determine which record belongs to the which class. Then techniques developed for constructing decision tree are computationally inexpensive. So, whatever techniques we are using to develop the decision tree, they are computationally inexpensive, making it possibly to quickly construct models even when the training set size is very large. Once a decision tree has been built, okay, classifying a test record is extremely fast. So, this decision tree classification is computationally inexpensive, and you can quickly construct the models even when the training set is large. So, once you are made or done with the decision tree, you can classifying a text record is extremely fast. What is with a worst case complexity of O of W, where W is the maximum depth of the tree. So, means how many nodes are present in the tree. So, decision tree, especially small size trees, are relatively easy to interpret. They are easily to interpret. So, decision tree, especially small size trees, are relatively easy to interpret. Decision tree algorithms are quite robust to the presence of noise. So, decision tree algorithm does not or it is having very strong effect against the presence of noise. The presence of redundant attribute does not adversely affect the accuracy of a decision tree. So, now what are the disadvantages of decision tree? Since most decision tree algorithms employ a top down recursive partitioning approach. So, we start from the node and we are going parent node, we go on dividing into the child node. So, the number of records becomes smaller as we traverse down the tree. So, as we go on splitting the records at each child node, then the number of records will be less when we come down or traverse down the tree. At the leaf node, the number of records may be too small to make a statistically significant decision about the class representation of the node. So, if the training record is starting from the root node, that is giving to the internal nodes and coming to the leaf node, when it comes to the leaf node, most of the records may be too. So, the available number of records will be too small to make a statistically significant decision about to which class a particular node belongs. Okay, a subtree can be replicated multiple times in a decision tree, as listed in figure 3 times, figure 11. So, this makes the decision tree more complex than the necessary and perhaps more difficult to interpret. Means the same subtree will be repeated sometimes again and again. The same subsets or the same child nodes are repeated in the decision tree. So, this is one more major problem with the decision tree, or the disadvantage. A subtree can be replicated multiple number of times in a decision tree, as illustrated in a figure in the next slide. This makes the decision tree more complex than the necessary and perhaps more difficult to interpret. Such a situation can arise from a decision tree implementation that implement or that rely on a single attribute test condition at each internal node. Let us take for example, you have tree replication problem, the same subtree can appear at different branches. So, now P, Q and R. So, at Q I am going for a condition called as S, and if S go to S, if no go to 0. From S again, if S 0, if no go 1. Then at R I am coming, I am splitting again, if S go to Q, if no go to 1. So, from Q again I am going to S and a 0, again S 0. The same tree which is a part of subtree of this, which is a subtree of P, and this part which is a subtree of R, both are the same tree is replicated, means we are not. So, here also it will give you the same class with a different data set, and here also it will give you the same class with a different set. This is a tree replication problem that usually arises in a decision tree induction. So, consider the training example in 4.7. So, here the data set is given for you. So, here different customers are visiting a car showroom to buy a car. So, out of that some are males and some are females. So, there are total 20 customers visited the showroom, out of it 10 customers are female and 10 customers are male, and there are 3 types of the cars. One is family car, another is sports car, and third one is luxury car. Then shirt size is small, medium, large and extra. So, now I need to determine whether they belongs to the class 0. This all 10 records belongs to the class 0 and the remaining 10 class records belong to the class 1. For this I need to calculate the Gini index for overall collection of the training example, Gini index for the customer ID, Gini index for gender attribute, compute the Gini index for car type, Gini index for shirt size, which attribute is better, whether gender, car type or shirt, out of this which is the best attribute, and explain why customer ID should not be used an attribute test condition even though it has the lowest Gini. So, we will go for one by one. So, compute the Gini index for the overall collection of the training records. So, answer is 1 minus 2 into 0.5 bracket square. Why 2? There are 2 types of this training examples. We have 2 types of the general, 50% of them are male and 50% of them are female. So, 2 is because 50% are male and 50% are female, 1 minus 2 into 0.5 bracket square is equal to 0.5. Then compute the Gini index for customer ID attribute. So, now this customer ID attribute I need to calculate, and I need to calculate the Gini index. So, the Gini for customer ID's value is 0. Why? The overall Gini is also 0. So, why the customer ID value is 0? We will see in the next slide why the Gini for customer ID value is 0. Now, calculate the Gini index for gender attribute. So, gender attribute here is also the same thing. So, if you count 50% means 10 are males and 10 are females. So, usually then obviously the Gini for male is 1 minus 2 into 0.5 bracket square, that is equal to 0.5, and the Gini for female is also 0.5 because 50% of them are male and 50% of them are female. Therefore, the overall gain for the gender is 0.5 into 0.5 plus 0.5 into 0.5, that is again will give you this will give you 0.25 and this will give you 0.25 and again it is 0.5. So, now coming to the Gini index for the car type attribute using multi-way split. So, here following the same formula for the Gini index. Okay, so, formula using the formula for the same Gini index. So, the family car, the Gini index for the family car is 0.35 and 5 and sports cars is 0, whereas luxury car is 0.2118 and the overall Gini if you add it will be 0.16. Now, shirt size, for small shirt size the Gini index is 0.48, for medium 0.4898, for large 0.5 and extra large is 0.5. The overall is this, all these things, the overall is all these things, multiplication of all these things and addition will give you an overall Gini of 0.49. Which attribute is better, gender, car type or a shirt? Car type because it has the lowest Gini among all these three. So, here if you see every one of these is having so what is the Gini? So, here the Gini index for the gender is 0.5, Gini index for the car attributes is 0.16, whereas the Gini index for the shirt size is 0.49. So, Gini index with the lowest value will be considered, okay, and that is the best attribute. An attribute which is having the lowest Gini value is the best attribute. Okay. So, car type because it is having the lowest Gini among the three classifiers. So, now the last question, why customer ID should not be used as an attribute test condition even though it has the lowest Gini. So, attribute has no predictive power since new customers are assigned to new customer IDs. Okay. So, now every time a new customer comes, a new transaction ID is assigned. So, this cannot be remain constant. For example, shirt size will remain constant, either it is a small, medium, large and extra large. Car type also remain constant, whether it is a sports car, family car or a luxury car. Okay. So, for that reason customer is not fixed. So, as the new customers are coming, new customers will come and new customers will be assigned with the no customer ID. So, this is sufficient for today's video lecture. So, in this video lecture what we studied is we studied with the Hunt's algorithm. So, what is an Hunt's algorithm and what are the two different steps that are involved in Hunt's algorithm. Then the training set we took, we built an Hunt's algorithm for decision tree induction. Then we studied what are the two design issues in decision tree induction. One is whether to split the training records or no, and second one is when we have to stop the splitting procedure. And here we studied different attribute test condition. One is binary attribute, nominal attribute, ordinal attribute, continuous attributes. Now, we have to calculate how to determine the split is a best split. So, the best split will be depends on if the nodes are non-homogeneous and if you are having high degree of impurity. So, we want the homogeneous with the low degree of impurity. So, now how we are going to measure the impurity? So, the impurity measure will be based on Gini index, entropy and misclassification error. So, this example we have seen, and this example we also took the what are the advantages of decision tree based classification, what are the disadvantages, what is the tree replication problem, and we take one numerical example on dividing and finding out which is the better attribute, why customer ID cannot be assigned or cannot be calculated Gini for a class or an attribute customer ID. So, in the next video lecture we will start with the model overfitting. So, this is the end of this video lecture. Thank you one and all.